in the past. So the Pentagon actually released this information, and they had some videos that came out too that showed UFOs, unidentified flying objects, on video doing things that we know are not physically possible, that are literally captured on video, in a heads-up display, and some of by some of our navigators in the sky. This is crazy to think about. And, I'm not a conspiracy theorist or anything like that, but I think many of you all know that I like to think outside the box. And I think we would be fools to sit here and think that we are the only ones in this universe. I think that's an absolutely asinine approach to take into account into our lives. So I think it's pretty awesome that now it's being proven that we have UFOs on video. Now, who knows? We don't know what that is. I'm not saying it's alien life. I mean, heck, it could have been a I don't know what it could have been. That's why it's a UFO, right? Could have been so many different things. But the good thing is that the tabloid culture that we are now, that has to be all about, what's happening every day, what's happening in celebrity life. Maybe after all this COVID thing is over, maybe this will come back up to light. And maybe some of you all in the listening community will go out and look at some of these articles that are out there and take a look at what's happening, that maybe we just are not alone. That's a great thing to think about. It's nuts to think that we've had on video for years and years now completely solid evidence of a UFO captured on video, and we haven't released it. But when things get declassified, information comes out, and hopefully it comes to light, and opens us up and opens our thought process up a little bit as human beings as well. That was a really neat article, and something that I thought was totally worth sharing with you all. And I encourage you all to go out and take a look at it, because there's some things that are happening right now with improvements in technology, specifically in hypersonic technology. When you think about our planes right now and the way that they fly, going the sound of speed, over the sound of speed, Mach 1, Mach 2, whatever it may be, these are really, really, really exciting times for us to be in. And if we're sitting here on the cusp of being able to fly planes at supersonic speeds and fly, rockets at supersonic speeds, then why in the world would we sit here and think that we are not alone and UFOs don't exist? It's nuts. It's nuts. We know right now that there has been research done. We have actually tested it. We've actually verified it, that we can launch a missile at 17 times the speed of sound. I had to pause right there and give you guys an opportunity to understand what I just said. 17 times the speed of sound. What in the world? That's crazy. I mean, that's nuts. And that's so exciting too, as just somebody who loves the thought of us, passing the sound barrier. But 17 times the speed of sound, that's really, really phenomenal, because that's going to lead into a lot of different things. When we talk about actually traveling to Mars, getting to these outer planets, getting outside our normal space regions, that's something that's really exciting. That's something that we can do. But I think right now we're really limited on the fuel capacity that we've got in our jets and our spaceships and whatever it is that we're trying to launch into outer space. So until we figure out a great way to have good fuel capacity and an alternative fuel component that will allow us to do long-term travel, fast travel, 17 times the speed of sound travel, we're not going to be able to really get to Mars and get to those other planets that we want to get to until we can figure out what does that new fuel component look like. It's not going to be petroleum based, because we know that our fuel tanks can't even be large enough now to use petroleum, because we use hydrogen fuel tanks to fuel the spaceships that launch out now. So we got to figure out what that alternative fuel is. And until we do that, we won't be able to get to those outer planets. And until we do that, we may not ever know what these UFOs are. But the good thing is, the X-Files knew about it back in the 90s. I think there had to be some people that were leaking things back then. You had people that were working out at Area 51 that we all know is a great research, base where they do some significant advances in aircraft travel. A lot of great things are happening with DARPA. DARPA is a company that gets military contracts to develop new weapon systems, new advancements in technology for, you know, taking bulletproof vests, things like that, rail guns. I mean, all these great things that are coming out. We've got the advancements there. And now we've got these stories coming out about the UFOs. It's really exciting times to be in. But remember, you're not going to hear these stories in the mainstream media right now because technically it's not happening, right? The only thing that's going on in this world right now is dad blame COVID. But that's okay, because we can keep pressing forward and keep trying to dig deeper than just COVID. And that's what I encourage you all to do with today's podcast on our Honor Cross Arms podcast today, is that not only are you getting some information that you're not probably hearing now, I want you all to go out and research some additional information that may be out there as well. Just got a couple more minutes left, and there's one other great story that's really coming out, and I wanted to just touch on it. And I'm going to try to get some guests on in the future. But there's a C-130 aircrew that is receiving combat action medals for dodging an RPG over Afghanistan. And the neatest thing about this entire story is that it was captured on video. You can see a C-130, and if any of you all know anything about a C-130 is not an aircraft that is nimble. It wouldn't be considered fast by any means, but they are really, really, really exciting aircraft from my Air Force standpoint, because the AC-130, the Attack 130, is the gunship, the Spookies. Oh my gosh, most phenomenal, to me, the most phenomenal flying tank that we have. Although I think most of you all know that the A-10 is my favorite aircraft, the AC-130 is just a beast of its own. This C-130J, which is a Super Hercules, was in Afghanistan in September of 2019 when it noticed a flash of red light in the darkness. And the great thing about it is the loadmaster was quoted by saying, "At the time, I wasn't scared because I didn't realize it was an RPG, but possibly a flare," he thought. So you got a loadmaster sitting in the back of this plane, and he sees this flash, and he's like, "Oh, it's probably just a flare or whatever." It was a dad blame RPG that was coming in at him, which is crazy. So they made some evasive maneuvers in the sky, and they were able to, completely dodge this RPG. And an RPG is a rocket propelled grenade for many of our listeners out there who may not know what that is. But it was really amazing to see that this was captured on video. And if you get a chance to go to Task and Purpose, go out there and check it out. It's a great video because it shows you some of the evasive maneuvers that our C-130 can do. Even though it's very minor, it can actually still get away from an RPG, which is really exciting. So that entire crew, all the airmen that were on there, are going to get a great flying medal. And it's really exciting because no lives were lost. That's what, to me, when I share these stories, one of the most uplifting things about this story and everything that I say is that no lives were lost. It's so exciting to know that combat action medals are going to be giving out for dodging this RPG, and nobody lost their life. Oh, I'm so excited. Such a great day. So I think that's it for today's podcast. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in on the Honor Cross Arms podcast. I'm Joshua Littrell. We're going to do a couple different things new over the next few months. So if you got any suggestions, shoot us an email or give us a call. Hit us up on an email at joshua@vfcannabis.org or joshua@vfc.foundation, whichever one is easiest for you. We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to be a guest on the Honor Cross Arms podcast, please let us know. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Joshua Littrell. Take care.
Line over there, send the word over there, that the Yanks are coming, the drums coming everywhere, so prepare, say a prayer, send the word to beware, we'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there, over there.